Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Kunj Bihari ki jai.
Jaya, wait. Jaya Rama, Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadadi. Jaya Gopi Jana Girivadadadi. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Thira Vanachali. Gopi Gurudev Jaya Jaya.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Can I start or? No, no. I've given the list to him. Prabhu, can I take this out sometime? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We welcome you all for this Sunday feast program of ISKCON for Round Rock. So today is my session. I've been asked to talk about some topic. Hare Krishna. Oh. Hare Krishna, Mataji. This is something very special. Probably I would not get it in my place. A garland from my granddaughter, Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Kunj Bihari Ki Jai. So today, my session here will run up to 45 minutes. I'll try to stop at 12:25. It is based on Bhagavad Gita. It is on the topic of duty, but it will be laced with my own very personal reflections in understanding the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita while discussing the topic of duty. In other words, activity, that we all do it, right? So, in the course of this session, because it is a session based on personal realization, you will see me using the word I. Please do not mind that I use the word I, because I have to use the word I to make a sense of what I'm saying. As the topic of today's Bhagavad Gita, let's take a very quick look at Bhagavad Gita in 3 bullet points. One is that we all know it's a dialogue between Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, and Arjuna, and in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So there are 700 verses spread into 18 chapters. Overall, Bhagavad Gita deals with 5 main topics. That's what Acharyas say. One is Ishvara, that is Lord, the controller. One is Jiva, or living entities. Prakriti, the material nature that we see, the material nature that controls us. And Kala, very dominant force that always is coming behind us. Kala, the time. And Karma, the activities. So, Ishvara, controller. Jiva, living entities. Prakriti, Kala, Karma, activities. So our focus today is activity, duty. We all do, right? We all do our duty, we all do our work, we all do our activities. If you see all our issues, all our success, whatever we experience is a combination and a result of activities only. If we were to live a life without doing anything, nothing would have happened, but God has not designed us like that. So I'll try to explain my own personal realizations in the journey of my understanding of word duty, and the journey is only at the beginning phase. It is still going on and on and on. When I refer to Bhagavad Gita, it is not, I just mean that what Krishna has spoken to Arjuna. It is not that way. I refer to Bhagavad Gita as it is. In Bhagavad Gita, we see Dhritarashtra speaking, we see Sanjaya speaking, we see Arjuna speaking, we see, of course, Lord Sri Krishna speaking most of the verses. So Bhagavad Gita is a combination of these verses from these great personalities. But for us, not only that, what Krishna spoke to Arjuna, it is also the translation of every shloka that Srila Prabhupada has given, and the transliteration of every word that is spoken in Bhagavad Gita, which is also very simply, in a very simple words, explained by Srila Prabhupada. And more than that, the purport that Srila Prabhupada has written for every of those 700 verses. So when I talk about Bhagavad Gita, it is that heavy Bhagavad Gita that I'm talking about. It is probably I can take the liberty to say it is heavier than what Krishna has given Arjuna, because we need that heavy dose, and that's why Prabhupada has given this. So that is the reason why this book has become so popular, and millions of people use this book. So probably I'll be dealing with whatever is said, not only in the verses of Sri Krishna to Arjuna, but also in the purports that Srila Prabhupada has given us. There are many verses pertaining to the topic of duty. We all know that. Activity, karma is a very important topic, and many people also talk about Bhagavad Gita. But in today's session, I'll only be touching on very few of those shlokas. It is not that other shlokas are not important, but it is that in my quest to understand what is duty, somehow some shlokas became very personal to me. So I interact with those shlokas. It looks like I own those shlokas, and they always are guiding me to learn more and more, to realize more and more. So it's not that other shlokas are not important. All shlokas, every of the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita are important, but today I'll be only covering few of them. So when I was reading Bhagavad Gita, and in one of my first touch points, a shloka that came to my mind, that triggered my attention and my fear, both, is Bhagavad Gita 2.47. In this shloka, when I was trying to understand the concept of duty, because I knew a basic thing at that point of the journey, that Arjuna had a duty to perform. He came to battlefield, but he turned around and he's trying to shift his duty. So Krishna had to give him a career counseling, a counseling on duty. So duty is an important topic of Bhagavad Gita. That's what I could understand. So when I came to contact these words, it looked pretty impactful, but it also was a bit scary, because in the very beginning stages of Bhagavad Gita itself, when Krishna started introducing the Karma Yoga, the things about activity, he says, you have right to perform your duty. So you don't have to ask me whether I have to fight or not. Why are you asking me? You are a Kshatriya, you have to fight. So please be clear. So this is also very important for us. If you know our duty clearly, then we don't have to ask. That becomes a prescribed duty. But then Krishna puts two very foundational conditions. But you are not entitled to the fruits of action. So you can perform the duty, you are fully authorized, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of results of your activities, and never be attached for not doing your duty. That means never be attached for not doing your duties. That means you have to always do your duty, and there is no need to ask anybody for doing your prescribed duty. But that's fine. If I am authorized to do something, I do it. I'll also not stopping not doing it. But if somebody comes and says that you do your duty, you are authorized to do your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Okay, fruits of action also I can give up. But he says that you should not even think the cause of the results of your action. So that was very difficult for me to understand how Krishna is saying. This karmanyevadhikaraste. All do it together? It's okay? Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhu ma te sangostu akarmani. So, luckily, by the grace of God, I continued my journey, knowing that someday, somewhere, I will be knowing more and more about it. I continued books of Srila Prabhupada, reading about Srila Prabhupada, listening about Bhagavad Gita from so many people. So then, first question, I wanted to know, why would Krishna want us not to take the results? Is it Krishna is enjoying that he wants to impose on something on us? Is it a constraint that Krishna is placing on us? I came to know that no. Krishna is actually coming as a friend and a mentor and a requesting. You please don't take it, man. If you take it, what will happen? you will be greedy. You will become proud. When you become greedy, you get proud. What will happen? Anxiety engulfs you. So I don't want to engulf in anxiety. I don't want you to become proud. I don't want you to become greedy. That's why, please do not expect to enjoy the result. Here, the context is a good result. Krishna is asking, even if you think that this battle is going to give you a good result, don't do that. It's not that I'm not putting a constraint, but I'm actually helping you. Please understand it. So when I got this reflection, then never it occurred to me that any shloka that Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita is actually an imposition. It is only a request. It's a humble request. Krishna is coming close to us, and because he wants our benefit, he is giving this. So when I started looking Gita at this, the whole Gita started revealing to me in a very, very different way. But then I have to follow this still. Okay, Krishna is saying that I should not fall greed and pride, and that's why he's trying to protect me. But am I in a position to follow it? So, but Krishna is not giving any elements here. It looks like we have to do it for all results of our action. Then, because I started developing a personal relationship, then I started talking to that shloka. I am not in a position to offer or give up the results of all my good activities, but I will choose the big endeavors that I do. I try to give, but before giving me, I will start in such a way that I will just enjoy that a bit for a moment, because it's very difficult for me to be completely detached. But then before the pride, envy, and greed comes to me, I would definitely let it go. So once I made this promise to this shloka, a sincere promise, whenever these kind of situations come in front of me, where I need not to get attached to the results, and if I get attached to the results, there's some kind of a Krishna is to pinprick. The shloka is to pinprick me. Hey, you made that promise. Slowly, as I'm progressing in my path of righteousness or devotion with the association of devotees, that question of asking Krishna again and again that let me enjoy a bit is slowly reducing. This is the one practical realization that I got. And this is important because when we make a personal connect with anything, this is what happens. Somehow God gives us that additional energy to understand it deeper. So that made me happy as I go along. But then my predicament came, how do I be not attached to bad outcomes? Why would Krishna say all actions, right? Good actions and bad actions. Then again, is Krishna putting too much of a constraint to me that I should not be even worried about what's happening bad? Yes, I did something wrong, but I had an effect of that wrong thing. Should I not be attached to that? Should I not feel for it? Then when I was trying to understand that, I came to know why Krishna is asking me not to get attached even bad things. What happens when you get attached to the bad results, the results that you see in bad? What happens? Fear grips you. Fear grips me. Oh my God, I did this, I got this. So what should I do when I have to do that again? So when this fear comes into play, service love decreases. So that's why Krishna says, don't be attached even for the bad results. Move on in life. But then how is it possible? And what's the problem with that? If I get attached to my results of my bad reactions, the problem is when I have to perform that activity again, I would perform with fear, but not out of duty. So Krishna, Srila Prabhupada in this purport of the shloka gives 3 types of duties. One is our prescribed duty, that's a duty that we are supposed to do. Second is a duty that we perform on an emergency manner. And third is a duty that we perform right from beginning itself, desiring from certain results. So in any of these, if we have to be detached from the wrong outcomes or unfavorable outcomes, is needed to overcome that fear. If we detach even with the bad results, there is some protective mechanism. But this is a theory at that point in time in my mind. It still did not strike me. I continued my journey praying to the Lordships that one day I should understand why Krishna is not wanting me to attach to bad results. Because I have to feel I've done bad. No, otherwise, how can I get something bad and I just walk out and say, oh, okay, Krishna wanted me not to bother. I felt that in order to perform a duty, that there has to be a sense of responsibility, which I'm not able to understand at that point in time of Gita reading. So luckily, as my journey continued, I landed up mercifully by the grace of devotees to a shloka which has become my very dear friend, as much a dear friend as 2.47. That shloka is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8. It's a very, very important shloka. Because this shloka, Lord Brahma is actually talking to Krishna in a mood of repentance. So some bad reaction is already, he's already a receiver of something that he has not done good. And then in that mood, he's praising, glorifying Krishna. And he says, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, as we are all waiting, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart. So what attracted me in connection to how I can withdraw my bad reactions without responsibility, I got an answer. Krishna is not asking me to give up my responsibility. Krishna is only asking me to give up that attachment or worry about that bad thing. Patiently suffering. That means, for if I know either I'm getting attached or not getting attached, if I know that whatever I'm seeing in front of me, whatever I'm experiencing, that I have to patiently suffer the reactions of the past misdeeds. And Brahma also gives a solution. And offering you respectful obeisance within heart, words and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So then I realized the importance of, while being detached either to the good or the bad reactions, as long as we remember our responsibility and take that responsibility to suffer and learn from that mistake, then automatically we don't have to worry to be detached from bad outcomes, because they automatically are detached. The moment I say, Krishna, I am suffering, sorry, I made a mistake, but I will suffer patiently, and I'll continue to do your worship, and one day that mercy will come, I know, automatically. I don't have to even worry about it. So this is what Brahmaji paid, and I found the answer to my question of how I can be detached even for wrong things. So this shloka also has taught me something which has helped me extremely well in my professional life. Because when you are in the professional life, we cannot be doing always right thing. We have to do wrong things, sometimes knowingly also wrong things, and we have to pay the consequences for that. So this shloka, if you look it carefully, it also says, do not play the victim. If something doesn't go right, pause. Do not play victim. Do not worry. You are not the only one who are making mistakes. Brahma made a mistake, Indra made a mistake, so many people have made a mistake. Do not worry. But don't be attached to the outcome, and always feel the responsibility that you have to go through what you have to go through for this. So not playing the victim card, which I used to do quite a lot in office before. It was very easy for me to give that thing to others, but I slowly trying to stop. I stopped in many ways, but still my journey goes on. But whenever I'm hit with something unfavorable, first thing that comes to my mind, do not play victim. The moment we behave with this mentality, all I have seen in many cases in my professional life, all the unexpected support system comes to us to help us through wade that problem. And same way, even in devotional service, we do make mistakes. But if you pray, if you remember this shloka, 247, connected with 10:14:8, it also gives us a sense of ownership, sense of responsibility, and avoids us playing victim, right? So this shloka is so famous that some people recite this shloka in the normal form, but some people recite the shloka with a tune. Tattenu kampam somikshamano. So let's stand on the tune with the tune. Yeah? Yeah. Tattenu kampam kusumikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam Pridvagvapurbi vidhatan namaste Jivetayo mukti pade sada bhak. I take this shloka, I repeatedly meditate whenever I'm hit with a problem. It helps me to carry on my responsibility more and more. And it also gives me some kind of a relief. So this is how I connected with Bhagavad Gita 247 and 10:14:8. Then when I was getting more and more convinced to follow Bhagavad Gita 2.47, I also needed some help, that I also needed to know what is the process that Krishna has defined to enable the reader, enable the devotee to follow that. It is not that Krishna just gives that thing and then goes on, right? So I was trying to understand where I can find. So I continued my journey in trying to understand this thing. And then I suddenly one day landed up on reading the shloka, Bhagavad Gita 3:30. And this is a shloka, from that day onwards, I read it every day, because that it has unfolded me a more understanding of Bhagavad Gita, and particularly how to follow that. So basically, till this time, I came to know that Krishna is not asking me to give away, abandon my responsibility, but he's asking me to think about his proprietorship. He's taking everything, but just asking me not to get attached, because underlyingly, implicitly, I came to understand that he is willing to help me, right? So when I talked about this 3:30 was a game changer in my life, so to say, for giving me a very, very important direction, because it shows the process for which we can sustain in doing our duty. It gives a process, right? For everything we need a process. Krishna, as he continues his thing, he says, okay, before I tell this, apart from this shloka revealing me the process to follow 2.7, which has got a very important direction. This shloka became my very, very dear friend because in the first line of 330, Srila Prabhupada says, this verse clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So that's the reason why this shloka became extremely dear to me. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have just like that said it, right? So as I'm trying to understand 247, when this came to my life, then I've decided that I will recite this every day, which I continue to do almost, except those days where I'm completely distracted or I'm completely sick. Otherwise, every day before I start my work, I would invariably do this. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works. The work word comes mostly when we are doing the household work, thing that work may not strike hard, but when you do go to work, when you go to the office, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, then the two important things, without desires for profit, with no claims of proprietorship, free from lethargy. So Krishna is saying, don't desire for profit because you are anyway not getting attached to good result or bad result, and no claim of proprietorship. So again, Krishna is not a person who is punishing us. Krishna is helping us. If unknowingly or knowingly, if you start taking the proprietorship, my dear son, you will have to face the consequence of getting pride, envy, greedy, anxiety. Please give it to me. You move on with life happily. So these instructions of Bhagavad Gita are like that, like when mother or father tells the student, you study well, go to school regularly. In the beginning days, a child may see it as an imposition. It's a drill phase of life, right? So Radheshyam Prabhu says our life starts with the spills. Very often we spill whatever we eat. Then our life starts with a drill. Becomes more and more regimental, more people coming saying this, that, this, that. But if you look at child's development, when does it blossom? As the child grows, he or she, when she realizes that mother and father, whatever they are telling, they are actually not imposing for their pleasure, for their benefit, but instead of their benefit, her or his benefit. The moment the child starts realizing it, their development blossoms, and they don't need our guidance also. They automatically pick it up. Same way, when we read Bhagavad Gita, if we come to think of that Krishna in every instruction that he's giving, he's actually protecting us, then our knowledge blossoms. This is what my understanding. It's not that my knowledge has blossomed so much that I'm sitting here and talking. I am also a very beginner, practitioner, falling, rising, learning, unlearning, learning. But the simple concept that Krishna is not imposing something, it is for my benefit. When Krishna says don't claim from proprietorship, there is something that is taking. So this way, this has basically changed the course, the way I started understanding my duty, and I started performing my duty to the best extent possible. Again, I'm saying, I'm nowhere near perfection. Long way to go. But, when I meditate on these kind of shlokas, I get confidence that I'm following a perfect path. Srila Prabhupada said, you don't have to be perfect, but follow the path of perfection. That's enough. In that, we may fall, we may get up. So, and also the another important thing that I learned as I grew up with this shloka is a word of trying to do things in a mood of renunciation, in a mood of not getting too much attached. There it is not getting attached, that's one level, right? And here Krishna is saying sannyasasya, that means give up also. So this giving up becomes easy when you have the detachment, right? When you are attached to something and somebody tries to grab or somebody asks, it becomes all the more difficult. So if you practice 2.47 or if I start practicing 2.47 properly, I also can potentially practice 3.30 that much easily, because giving up is not a big thing then. So 330 has become a very, very important thing. And other thing, that is interesting word that I used to always meditate, I continue to meditate, is Vigata Jwaraha. Krishna says, Arjuna, don't be lazy, fight. That means you be active. So in devotional service, this is a very important thing to do. But sometimes it's a double-edged sword. For me personally, when I get too much attached to this shloka, I want to follow it word by word. I said, Krishna asked me to be active, so I work. Sometimes I work too much. People call me a workaholic. In the house, they also criticize me that I work too much. I don't care for others. I work too much, and I make people work. Generally, there's a feeling in the house family. But at the same time, when I listen to their criticism, and when I tend to take a break and relax, they say that I'm lazy. I'm not working. So still I have not found a balance on what Krishna is saying of not being lazy. But one thing that I keep coming to know, that Krishna is asking me to at least be active. Maybe he's asking me not to be overactive, but definitely I cannot give up activity. And then when we talk about 2.47 and 330, how it evolved in my life in understanding my duty, then I started looking at a journey. In my journey, how do I sustain this? There has to be some sustaining principle to this. In the quest of following these instructions, I know that I'm falling. I know that I'm not practicing properly. I know that I committed something to these shlokas, but I'm not still there yet. But I want to be there. So in those situations, one day, when I was talking to one of our congregation members, this is where devotee association is so important. And in ISKCON, we must be so thankful that we have got plenty of association. So one of my friends said is that, why are you struggling? Remember one very simple instruction of Krishna. I said, what is it? Because always you need a mentor to coach you. He said, open Bhagawad Gita, 8th chapter, 7th shloka. Don't worry. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mai arpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasi asamshayaha. Therefore, O Arjuna, that means Krishna is telling something before, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry on your prescribed duty. Krishna here also telling Arjuna, you have to do fighting. But with your activities dedicated to me, your mind, intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. I got a big relief, because here I don't have to. There I was bothering, how do I not be attached? How do you have to renounce? I'm trying to practice, I'm failing, but Krishna is giving me a helping hand. Don't worry, just do. Give your mind and intelligence to me, you carry on. And not only that, Krishna is promising a super reward, saying that you will attain me. In 247, Srila Prabhupada talks in his purport of salvation. That means salvation is cessation from suffering, reducing the suffering. And in 3:30, Srila Prabhupada talks about liberation. That means not getting entangled. So there Krishna is talking about cessation from suffering, and then Krishna later talks about not getting entangled with the results. And then here Krishna is directly telling that you will come to me. So then I thought this is the end of the story. Krishna, if I follow this, at least to some extent, my life can become better. And what is my ultimate aim? To perform my duty. Because Krishna is asking me to perform my duty, be it in 247 or several shlokas, be in 3rd chapter, several shlokas, come to 8th chapter, he is still asking me to do my duty. So from then onwards, I don't think there is any other day that I went to office without remembering this. This shloka also helped me, just like the way Tatyenu Kampam helped me to realize, take my responsibility, take the ownership, don't play the victim card. This shloka gave me the strength to take some tough decisions in life, particularly at work. When I have to take a tough decision, I meditate on this shloka. Then I feel that Krishna is there, he will protect me to wade me through. In the course of the discharge of this, it's not that Krishna will protect me even if I do a solid mistake. But even if Krishna thinks that even after I put my mind and intelligence on him, still I make a mistake, I still have to take the responsibility of my mistakes. I should not forget my 10, 14, 8, my 3:30, my 2:47. But I get an assurance from Krishna that if I take his help, I am there. So once I got this kind of an assurance, I got more and more motivated to make my duty, performance my duty more fulsome, more satisfactory to myself and to others. But in the course of that thing, I also felt in the run-up to this, even sometimes it becomes very difficult to submit ourselves with mind and intelligence, because always there is a kind of a rebellion within us. So then when I was starting and reading and trying to meditate, is there any sustaining instruction which is much more simpler than 247, even more simpler than 3:30, even more simpler than 8.7? Can I find something to perform my duty? So when I was reflecting this one day, in the course of a normal reading of Bhagawad Gita, which sometimes Krishna comes within us as Guru, right? He gave me one wonderful shloka, which again became my daily repository of shloka. There is no day probably I would remember, unless I'm sick or deeply hurt, deeply distracted, I would not remember the shloka. That is 9:27. Krishna makes it extremely simple. No need to give up, no need to be detached, no need to submit your intelligence, no need to do. Just yet karoshi yadashnasi yet juosi dadasi yet tapasyasi kaunteya tat kuru swamadarpanam. He says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, give away. Whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So this has made me to realize one very important thing that my mother has taught me, that she always used to say, work is worship. So I always used to think like that, work is worship. So I had a habit, even today I have a habit, that when I go to my office room, when I close the door, I pay obeisances. Because I considered my office space as a temple. Because my mother has told me work is worship. But when I started reading these shlokas, when I started understanding Prabhupada, Prabhupada has given me through this shloka much more than what my mother has given me as a foundation. This shloka, if you remember, you don't do work, you don't consider work is worship, but you work as worship. Your work becomes worship because you are surrendering all that thing what you do, what you offer to Krishna. So your work that you do, detached, not detached, everything gets sorted out and Krishna receives our offering of work, whatever you do. Either be it professionally or be in our service. So there's one very important thing, this shloka also teaches the importance of bhakti yoga. So in karma yoga, if you see, it's not that easy to practice. Jnana yoga, if you see, combination of 247, 3.0 and some other things, fine, they're fantastic instruction, not that easy to practice. But when it comes to bhakti yoga, all those rivers of karma, jnana, bhakti merge into these kind of a very, very foundational instructions that makes our life very happy, and that made my life very happy in understanding how I should perform my duty. So this has become a very, very, very important. So when I remember this shloka, 5 more minutes? Okay. So how do I follow this? As we remember the Lord, as much as we do, in whatever we do, when we start offering, automatically Krishna, through the devotees, also give us so many other pointers and routes. And I found one such thing. If I do that, to follow 927 becomes very easy. That is, Srila Prabhupada has quoted that verse sometimes, and he also talked about that verse as golden rule of bhakti. Smartavya sadatam Vishnu vismartavya na jatachit sarve vidhi nishedasyor etayor eva kinkaraha. Always remember the Lord, never forget the Lord. That means always remembering the Lord is chanting, never forgetting the Lord is deeper than that, meditation. If you do that, that is more than enough. Sarve vidhi nishedasya, all the do's and don'ts that we have been talking, they become servants to this main principle of remembering Lord. So remembering the Lord is very important. That's why the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why it becomes important? Why smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavya na jatachit? This cultivation of this mood is become very, very important. In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna talks similar concept in 8:14. He says, for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. O son of Prutha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. And also, this shloka is extremely important and becomes grave. What happens if we start leading our life in a mood of always remembering the Lord and surrendering our results? Every one of us know that one day we have to leave this world. How do we prepare to leave this world? Always remembering, definitely Krishna will also remember. Krishna says that, but Isopanishad gives a very interesting shloka, verse, a mantra. It basically entitles a right on the devotee to invoke the attention of the Lord that practitioner has done lot of things that God has asked him to do, so that God makes a notice of it. God doesn't have to do that. But this is to demonstrate what kind of an empowerment a practitioner can get if he does right things, performs his duty dutifully based on the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. And that shloka goes like this. Vayor anilam amrutam athedam bhasmantam shariram. When the life air goes out of our body and our body turns into ashes, what are we supposed to be praying? Om, invoking the benefactor. Om Krato, that means supreme enjoyer. Om Krato Smara Kratam Smara Krato Smara Kratam Smara. O Lord, please remember all my sacrifices. Yat Karoshi, Yadashnasi, Yat Juhoshi. And because you are ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. So in this way, I have developed, and I'm trying to understand as a very, very beginning practitioner who is falling, getting up, but because I made a personal contact with some of the shlokas that I feel I internalize that would help me to understand in a very simple terms with my very limited knowledge what Krishna is asking me to do when he says perform your duty. So I keep on asking myself whether I am be able to do that or not. Sometimes I can smile to myself, and sometimes it's not that easy. I know that I've failed. But Tattenu Kampamsu Samikshamana shloka, the 10:14:8, the shloka that we remembered, no problem. We can make mistakes. We have to suffer for the mistakes. Lord is there to protect us. That's how He made the whole system, so that we suffer from our mistakes, so that we know that we made a mistake. Otherwise, we would not know that we made a mistake. We would have gone into much, much more hellish planets. The fact that God is making us suffer, make us realize, is again, that is not His enjoyment. It is again for our own benefit, so that we don't do a bigger mistake. So in this mood, I'm still going through the journey of understanding this. So Bhagavad Gita 247, 330, 8.7, 927 have become very much part of my life. So why I've taken this is with a simple message, not that I'm trying to be preachy. I'm just trying to share that the benefit that I realized when I make some shlokas as my dear friends. I can talk to the shlokas. I can question those shlokas. I can seek answers from those shlokas. Somewhere Krishna makes arrangement to support me because he's convinced that I made them my friends. So friends means I'll cover the last shloka, because how can I be friendly? Because it's easy to be friendly with somebody who's very favorable, but it's not easy to be friendly with somebody who's not favorable, right? But Krishna is asking us to be friendly with everybody. And not only with shlokas, unless I create an ambience around me where I see friendly people, where I see people who guide me, where I see people who can lift me, where I can see people who can make me understand what is my duty, how can I progress? If I am surrounded with animosity, if I give animosity to some, I get the same. How can my mind be having that free space? So there is one shloka which also became a very dear shloka, even though I don't recite the shloka every day, but I remember the importance of the shloka. Why? Because, can anyone remember why Srila Prabhupada said 11:55 is an important? It is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada in his purport said, essence of Bhagavad Gita. In 3:30, he says, it's a very purpose of Bhagavad Gita. 11:55, he says, purpose of Bhagavad Gita. I'll just read the translation and end it. My dear Arjuna, he who engages me in pure devotional service, free from contamination of fruitive activities and material speculation, he who works for me, he who makes me supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Because to be friendly with everybody is not that easy, right? Even though I may want to be friendly, I may not be able to, because others may not like me. And also, as particularly for people like my age group, being friendly is a very important thing, because as we are growing, life will teach us and also show us some people whom we have been very friendly are no more there. As we go along, we have less and less friends around us, and more and more people who do not understand us. Generation gap, priorities gap, communication gap. So we tend to be more misunderstood than understood. But when we are in youth, when we are surrounded with friends, it's very easy. But as you grow old, we hardly have any friends. So it's a phase of life I'm going through. But then I was searching, thinking on how do I maintain this thread of friendliness. I'll just leave with one quote. It is not a devotional quote, but I'm still telling because it has got a very relevance. Ever since I realized this 2 years back, one of my friends has actually sent me. 2 years back I got it, and every now and then I remember, because I want to maintain friendly relationship. I want to close out those triggers that happen now and then. Sometimes it makes me unhappy. Sometimes make me unhappy, sustained period of time. I can't afford to live like this, because end may come any time. I can't go leave this world with that baggage. So, this quote, again, apologies with Ramvijay Prabhu, I'm quoting something non-devotional, but it quote comes from a very famous devotee poet, Mirza Ghalib. He's a Sufi saint, has written so many great verses praising the Lord. In English, if I have to translate this, he says, I have somehow made my life simple this way. I have somehow made my life simple this way. With some, I sought forgiveness. With some, I said, forgive me, kshamata vancha kalpatarabhyasya. With some, I sought forgiveness, and some, I have forgiven them. It's a beautiful line of Mirza Ghalib, and I started following it because I want to close. I used to share with my wife what are those strained relationships within the family members, sometimes within extended family members, within friends. No, I'll take each of those names. Remember, till I'm convinced that I've either sought forgiveness or I've forgiven, forget. So I'll just do it in Hindi also. कुछ इस तरह मैंने जिंदगी को आसान कर लिया, किसी से मांग ली माफ़ी, किसी को माफ़ कर दिया. So same way, please also forgive me if I have committed any offenses. I only told my personal story. It is not that I'm trying to impose anything on you, but if you like any of those things that I've talked about in 2.47, 3.0, very purpose of Bhagavad Gita, 8.7, 927, 1155, the understanding I got from what is duty, maybe it may touch your heart. It's not that you should only remember those shlokas. If you want, try at least experimentally try to make some shlokas your own personal favorite shlokas. And those shlokas themselves will slowly expand the horizon and makes Bhagavad Gita reading enjoyable, because we're standing here, sitting here in ISKCON of Round Rock. Srila Prabhupada came to America, so you people living in America must be very highly privileged and grateful to Srila Prabhupada, because he, of all the countries in the world, he has chosen your country to land in Boston, to translate Bhagavad Gita, to give Bhagavad Gita, to distribute Bhagavad Gita. So, as a mark of respect to him, let's please bless me that I read, I enjoy, I make more and more personal connect with shlokas so that I can perform my duty to the extent possible. So when the day comes that I have to leave, I should not have too many regrets, but it's only hope and a prayer. So I need all your blessings in this regard. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Sorry, I slightly went ahead of time. Apologies for that. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Jagajiva Jagannatha Prabhu, for the wonderful class. In case you do not know what verses to add to your repository, from January 10th, we're starting Discover Yourself course here, which will teach on the Bhagavad Gita. So that way you can learn more and I get an idea of what verses to add to your repository. A brief introduction about His Grace Jagajiva Jagannatha Prabhu. Sorry, that was being asked for a while. So brief introduction with Jagajiva Jagannatha Prabhu. Him and his wife, Revati Gopi Devi Dasi, are visiting us from Dubai. If you were here last Sunday, we had Murti Mohan Prabhu and Divyangi Radha Mataji visiting us from Bahrain. We have a full Middle East contingent here. It was not planned. They decided to escape the heat of the respective places and come to Austin. So they're my parents, in case you did not get that. They've been living in Dubai in the Middle East now for almost 40 years and have been practicing Krishna consciousness for nearly 40 years, over 30 years. They're disciples of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. They are both very active speakers and preachers in the community. They are conducting many classes online and in person. My father manages multiple services there, including book distribution, congregational development, and mentoring and coaching many devotees. It's a privilege for me to introduce them because I am who I am because of them. And if it wasn't for them figuring out how to raise a crazy person like me, I don't think I would be able to be here. And I'm eternally grateful for them for introducing me to Krishna consciousness, which has been such an anchor throughout my childhood and my adult life. So thank you so much for that. I'm really happy that you were able to give class today. So let's give another round of applause for him. The next part of the program is Aarti. We request everyone to please rise, and if you can move the cushions to the left and the right storage areas and come closer for Aarti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Radha Kunj Bihari, Radha Kunj Bihari, Shri Radhe, Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari, Radha Kunj Bihari, Shri Radhe, Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Jaya Jagannatha, Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Nitya Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo, Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Paradaladaye Hiranyakashipu Vrakshaha Shiladankanakalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha Bahe Narsimha Hidaye Narsimha Ahe Narsimha Madin Sharana Narsimha Madin Sharana Tava Kara Kamalavare Naka Adhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tava Karmalavare Naka Adhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimhade Jaya Narsimhade Jaya Narsimhade Jaya Narsimhade Jaya Palamara 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 Jaya Palamara Jaya Palamara Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Nitya Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari
everyone bow down, please. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pravikacarya Shro Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pravikacarya Shro Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Brihad Mridanga Ki Jai. Samaved Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gaur.